Hello everyone, I hope you're all doing excellent. Today, working on the FC as usual, and I'm in the middle of a wiring video, and I was just about to put in the back interior back together because we finished the fuel lines, the pinion snubber, the subframe, the fuel pump modifications, and I was just finishing up the wiring, which is the last bit back here, or so I thought, because I remembered, hey, I bought a harness bar. This is an NRG Harness Bar, and I'm glad I stopped because I started looking around at how people successfully get this installed, and I'm going to have to take out more of the interior, possibly trim some of these body panels, not the exterior but the interior trim panels, and yeah, so I need to get to work on that, and I would be doing myself a huge disservice if I started to put the interior back in and realize I have to take it back out and modify it. The good news we have going for us is that I have extra body panels of almost every kind, just picking them up throughout the years and from the other FC, so that's good. Bad news is all of them, even the spare ones I have, are brittle, have clips missing, and so even though it's not too complicated to remove the interior, I have to be very delicate. So I have to remove these side panels in here on both sides to get the bar mounted, which means because they're all interlocked, I have to take everything off from all around here down there to get to it. And also, one of the concerns I have is I want to put the storage bins back in, and there's this large fiberglass structure that comes here, and it looks like once I mount the bar, I'm going to have to run a support right down here underneath the carpet, and it is probably going to interfere with those bins, so we might need to do some cutting. And cutting fiberglass is just so exciting and fun. Like I was saying, this is so nerve-wracking because of the condition and age of everything. And this interior is in great condition for a car of this age, and just like I'll show you here, this little tiny piece right here, this actually covers a screw. You have to be very careful prying it out with a razor blade, but they're up here, and most cars you see of this age are not even going to have these pieces, especially if they've been modified. Here, I'll turn on a light so we can see, but right there, that little piece is something I would never be able to replace. I just have to very carefully, not to break it. Oh God. And I can only get out there with a razor blade because it's not a clip. Oh, got it. Whew. And now you can see there's a screw behind there, and that's a special type of screw too that clips onto that thing. So yeah, I'm gonna take my time. Just take my time, be patient, and we'll see how far we can get. All right, so I was able to get the panels out, and it went really, really well, actually, all things considered. This is what they look like from the back. So these are all the little clips that usually come off. These panels have been removed before. I can tell that because there's some missing. These little metal piece inserts from like right there. Luckily I have a few of these hanging around, so I'll fish through my hardware bin and see how many I can replace, but on most of them I didn't break any of the plastic. So usually what happens is this will like crack off or shatter off here. I did have one casualty which I'm repairing right now, which is actually really good. So I've got it right here, and what I use for this kind of repair, I've tried a bunch of stuff over the years, and this Loctite Fixmaster is the EA9017, as you can see here. Works so good, and I've used it on a lot of stuff, and I like to just build it up around it a little bit because it strengthens it, and it'll be stronger than the plastic was before. So we'll just let that sit while I work. And you can see on these they actually put like some kind of Kevlar fabric down, or maybe like just a resin and some fabric on most of these really critical ones, but not all of them have it, and so you can use a lot of them. The other reason I know that this has been removed before is these pieces here are guide holes that go into holes in the body, so you make sure everything's lined up, and it's actually very difficult to install with these on. I've cut these off before, and I can see that someone's already cut them or mangled them taking them in and out before, because mine came out pretty smooth, mostly because I have the rest of the interior out, but those can be a big challenge as well. So Anyway, now that we've got those out, it's time to figure out where the heck this NRG bar mounts. All right, so I've referenced only 2 pictures online that I found on how to do this. I think I know where it's gonna go now. I've got it lit up in here as best I can. Sorry if it's hard to see, but it looks like it mounts somewhere like here, maybe? You know what? Maybe I have flipped this over. Oh yeah, that looks better. Okay, so it's gonna need to go in there like this, which means I need to get a bolt behind there or something, or a washer. Okay, so I'm gonna fiddle around with the hardware now and figure out how I can get that to mount. So I'm in here trying to figure out how we're gonna mount this thing. So the place where they want us to mount it is this hole right here, and there's nothing. It's not threaded, there's nothing on the other side. I could possibly snake through like some washers and some hardware from the top here, but how am I going to hold them in place? How am I going to get them set up? How am I going to get them to tighten, because I can't get in anywhere? So, sorry for the shadow there from my light, but so the solution I found is this guy right here. So I'm going to put that up in there and then weld it in place. So I need Jeff to come home and help me with that, which he's on his way soon. But what I'm thinking is get that welded all the way around so it's nice and strong, and then tighten it into that. Now, I do need to strip these of the zinc coating, which I already wire brushed them. I'm going to soak them in vinegar, and then I need to strip this back so we have bare metal. But I think that's our best solution. And worst case scenario, if I give up on this and I don't like the way it is, that is all behind a body panel. I haven't cut into anything, and that should be just fine. So I'm going to get that going, and then I'm also going to grab a spare of the side panels that I need to use, and then use that to cut a sample hole as a template, because I will need to cut into these. And I do not want to make any mistakes, and I want to cut as little as possible. Well, it's a good thing we had to let those bolts we need to, or nuts we need to weld in, sit in acid for a while to get all the zinc off, because I have made a run to Lowe's, Home Depot, and 2 O'Reilly's to get all this hardware to make this harness bar work. I think we're pretty close to making it work though, so that's the good news. I even have a Heim joint in my pocket. Here we go. We got these nice and etched off all the zinc, so they should be able to be welded easily. You can tell it's all gone because it's even starting to rust. So I'm going to wire wheel those off real quick, and then we'll get started. And then also somewhere around here, yeah, I made a template for the end piece of this, so that I can use this spare side panel piece to basically make a test cut and make sure my measurements are working right. And we'll go from there and hopefully get this thing mounted, and then keep putting the interior back together and keeping the project rolling. Jeff's getting set up here, ready to attempt to weld this bad boy. And I actually have a welding helmet this time, so I can watch what the heck he's doing. Cool. So Jeff already worked angles and got it welded up in the corner. Now he's gonna, I think, finish this one off, as long as he doesn't melt the metal too much.
Well, it's weird. Like, the thing is, the car is a different metal than this, and so I'm using a 309 filler, which is good for combining dissimilar metals. But the heat, the input, is so different too. So you really have to watch your arc and where you're putting it. So to tack it, the actual sheet metal on the car melted real quick, but I couldn't get the metal on the bolt to melt.
Yeah, it's a big hefty bolt. So
you really gotta like manage your heat and really watch the arc. So that's just all you gotta do with this. It's not gonna be the prettiest weld, but you know what, it's gonna hold.
And it's gonna be behind body panels, so it just needs to be strong. right. So Jeff got these things right on there, looking great. Thought they wouldn't come out great because they were at such a weird angle. And Jeff's kind of a big boy to squeeze in here, but they came out looking great. So they are very solid in there. I need to let them both cool. So while I'm doing that, I discovered where we're going to be putting the bottom bars that come off, which is right down here. So I already cut this one through the carpet because I want to keep the carpet over this section. So the next secret that I got to share with you, if you're watching this for some sort of guidance, especially on the FC chassis, is that this hole is like a seatbelt hole right here, which is the fitting on the back of your seatbelt assembly. They are a very hard to find size. It is M11 by 1.25, and no one carries them. Not even our local industrial supply store that has pretty much everything we usually need. So there's a trick. You can get a standard 7/16-20, and that will work pretty well. You can put it in mostly but just by finger, so the threads are really close. It just gets a little bit difficult to tighten, but it will work. And so let me show you what you're looking for. Come down here, pull up the carpet, and right down here below where some of the door molding mounts in, and this is this little rubber plug. And I don't know what was supposed to be originally bolted here. Maybe some Japanese seatbelt technology. Well, I don't know, because this car came from Japan. Yeah, but there we go, right there. And this will sink in there. So what I do is I just tighten this in here a little bit, put the carpet over it, cut an X with the razor blade, searching for the word, then slide it over. So
I know what it's for.
Huh?
That hole is for the convertibles, where, because you know the seatbelt comes.
Oh yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
So the whole like bottom part of the chassis, you think's manufactured the same?
Yeah.
Oh, that's a really good point. Cool. So anyway, next I need to let these cool, and of course we need to, let's see, is it cold?
It should be fine enough.
Yeah, it's good now. So I need to put some paint on here because this is all exposed metal. Got the interior stripped anyway, so I can just spray on directly on there. Oh, okay. So now, as the paint's drying and I'm getting ready, what I'm trying to do here is take a measurement pretty much from the center of these holes here where the clips are going to go. So I can plot that out basically on the back of the body panel I need to cut and figure out where to start. And I think if I measure basically from the center to the center of those holes, I get 5 inches from middle to middle, and about 2.5 is right where I'm going to start drilling to make a hole to match up with that bolt. This panel here, and it's actually these two pieces, so one of these pins and one of these. So if I get right there, I want to drill a hole right about here. So got it approximately lined up. Let's stick this through. What am I hitting? Hitting the bottom of that. Okay. It's because it's at an angle, obviously. So if I go in at an angle, it's right there. So that is good. So I think the next thing I will do is drill out a much larger hole, I guess. All right, so I got it pretty close here. And this panel, I just removed all the clips on the back so I can pull it in and out. But again, this is the test panel. And if I pull it out a little bit for you, I can show you that my measurements were not perfect. So I drilled here originally and I had to widen it out in that direction, but that's fine because again, this is a template. Now, I'm going to try and keep this one as good as I can because, you know, these panels are rare, and even though it's messed up a little bit, maybe somebody wants to install the same kit after seeing the video and wants this panel, I'll send it to them. but I can use this to trace everything out. So now that I have this as a reference point, I need to mount everything else up so I can get the angle and get the rest of that all mocked up. The bar is sitting up here, which is great, but I don't know which angle this is gonna be. And it's very tight now, so that's good. But I've got to attach this guy to here and attach it down to our, oh, let me shimmy here, seatbelt bolt. And might have to adjust these heim joints a little bit to get the right length. So once I do that, then I can continue on to figuring out that angle to cut the body panel. But right here, I also need to figure out how I want to deal with the seat belt and see how close it comes to the center to see if I'm going to be able to mount the bins in there. So let me mock this all up and get more of a complete view, and then I'll catch everybody up with where I'm at. All right, even if I do say so myself, after, you know, just all that custom work, it mounts in here pretty cleanly. I know that's a joke, but it's pretty dang solid. I mean, I don't have these nuts torqued down all the way, and these aren't 100% tightened because I'm just trying to figure out, like, I obviously don't want to have the heim joint out too far on either side, but they're pretty equal length. I just need to equal out those two sides. But what I'm really looking for is the angle of these guys so I can get the body panels cut at this point. So, I mean, it's looking pretty good, pretty even. Yeah, I'm actually, you know, I was frustrated when I started working on it and reading all the posts and information about how terrible it is and how it doesn't come with any hardware and how you have to do a bunch of custom work. But at the end of the day, I enjoy doing that stuff, so does Jeff. So now seeing the fruits of our labor, it's actually pretty cool. Anyway, let me figure out how the hell I'm going to measure this. It's going to be some sort of deductive, like I have this point and then I have to put the panel up and hold my template up and get it at the same angle. So I'll figure that out, hopefully. By some miraculous turn of events, I was able to, I've been fighting with this thing to catch my breath. As you can see here, I have one side bolted in, it doesn't move, and this side I was able to unbolt, slip this behind, and then put this up there. I don't know how, probably because none of the rest stuff's tightened in, but I was able to trace out where it's going to go. So that's awesome. I'm still going to cut it on the test panel, and then we'll see, but oh, that's a relief. That's going to make things much easier. Okay, Jeff just helped me put this in because I was having trouble handling it with everything. But basically this is where the panel would be, and as you can see, it's a very nice tight fit, exactly where I want it. So basically on this test panel, what I did is I took and dremeled this out after you saw I was able to move one side up. So the methodology is you find the center point, make sure that the bolt is lined up with the hole. Then you unbolt one side and swing it up and get that bolted in and trace it. And then now, find my wrench, I'm going to tighten this down and make sure that it goes in. That looks great. Now let's see, is this still? Looks like I need a little bit of adjustment with this. Oh, that heim joint is stuck. I'll have to hit it with a hammer. But it's probably, let's see, let me loosen it a little bit. So I need to go up a little bit.
Is it off?
I don't know. It's hard to tell. How's that side?
Where's this supposed to go? Oh,
on the inside.
Inside? This is pretty much dead on. I mean, this heim joint got stuck too, but
yeah.
Just a couple rotations out and it'll be right there.
Okay, this one's pretty much the same as well. I mean, could use a little bit But the proof of the concept is working out, because even if I had to trim this back to that line, it would probably be where it needs to be if I torque it, and it is still very, very nice and tight. I got this bolt hole dead on, which feels great. Boom. So now gently get this one. All right, and now it is time for the Dremel. Check it out. Check it out. It's in. It's in, it's in, it's in. Oh, I need to clean that a little bit over there. But it's in, looks great. Doesn't interfere with too much. So, yeah, let's check it out from the back. Yeah, it looks cool. I mean, it's a cool piece. It's powder coated. It's like their titanium silver version, but it's like kind of got this goldish tint to it. So yeah, I'm very happy with it. Obviously a lot of work. So if you're checking this video out because you're thinking about getting one or you bought one, hey, just be ready to do the work. Make sure you have the facilities around. I definitely think that welding in those M12 nuts was the best idea and it worked really well, but you obviously have to have access to a welder and someone that can use it. So I'm going to do what I started. My intentions of starting the day was to put the rear interior back together, and obviously I got further into the interior, so I'm going to put everything back together so I can finish the wiring video. Check that out if you have any interest, and finish this shot and show you everything, and then yeah, I'll be back. Okay, well, I am tired. It's the next evening. I busted my hump yesterday getting this install done and working on that wiring video, but I think it's worth it. Take a look. So the interior is back in. Oh, let me get some light on this. Bam. Interior is back in. Harness bar looking great. So up here, there's our nicely trimmed body panel with the insert for the bracket. Got our hind joints bolted down. Still needs to be vacuumed obviously, but as you can see, I do want to show you that I did have to trim back this fiberglass board that's underneath the storage bin bays, but it wasn't too hard. I just, you know, it splits it into two pieces in the middle, and you can just slide it in, estimate, cut until it fits. Same thing over there, and I was able to tuck the carpet in around it, and I think it looks just fine. This piece I could trim off, this little ear, but I'm still working on things in the car, and it has a little hole, and same on the other side. I might need that to mount something, so I just left it for now. And then all the way up over there, I'll show you from the behind. Looks pretty dang good. I'm happy with it. So, guess the moral of the story is that if you don't want to go through all this work to make it fit right and look good, don't bother with it. If you don't mind going through all this work to make it look right and fit good, it's a really good deal. And for us, it's very exciting because if you can imagine, since we have the harness bar here, what do we have coming? Seats as well. So we'll have some nice, comfy, stylish racing seats to go in here. Well, racing seats, performance seats with the pass-throughs for harnesses. So we'll be safe, secure, and stable when we're going to the track. Thank you so much for everyone for watching. Please remember to look in the links in the description below to check out the RPM Act to protect race cars and cars like this one. Links for our merchandise as well, and our social media. Please be kind to each other out there, and remember, when they ask you, tell them you want more.